we are here with one of the greatest track and field athletes of all time. It is our huge honor and pleasure to welcome Bernard Lagat, Kip, as we like to call him. Kip, as I said, is one of the greatest track and field athletes of all time. 9 times he's represented the U.S. on Olympic or World Championship teams. 5-time Olympian, 5, starting in 2000 through 2016. 2 Olympic medals, 2 Olympic medals in the 1500. 2 World Championship golds.
Yes.
In 2007 in Osaka, the 1500 and the 5000. Among other things, the second fastest 1500 meter runner of all time, behind your friend Hisham.
Yes.
3:26:34. So Kip, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Josh. It's always a pleasure to chat with you and to carry a little bit of conversation about my training and my accomplishments and everything like that.
Terrific. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about your training, particularly around when you were young in high school, and advice you would have for high school age athletes or high school coaches about how to optimally train their athletes, not only for success during high school, but maybe more importantly, how to prepare them for success. You've had such an incredibly long career. So we're going to talk about some of the things that you've done to make this such a long career for you. So first thing we talk about how you trained in high school. So you went to high school in Kenya.
Yes.
So talk about what that was like.
So yes, I trained when I went to high school in Kenya, and the thing that what was happening over there is like everybody knows one thing: just get the shoes if you have shoes, and just go running. And so that's one of the things that we used to do. So we were basically running and training, even though we were athletes of different, strengths. So one of them were better than others. I was most of the time in the middle. I wasn't one of the best and I wasn't one of the bottom. And so I was just right there in the middle. But if, for example, and the thing is, we were basically training in basic areas, One of the areas that we were training is basically running long distance. So it's not just about there's track workouts here, there's hill session here, there's fartlek, or there's tempo runs over here. So those are the things that were missing. And so I feel like in order for coaches to get the best out of the athletes is first of all identify the talent. There's so many talent, especially when I was growing up, there was so much talent in there, but then most of it was general training. All of you just go run, and then the following day the coach just gets a stopwatch. And that was good in a way, but then I believe also like when you identify the talent, nurture that talent early, know how to train that athlete, and make sure that you give them everything that they need in order for them to be successful. And so I later on looked at that as something that I could have maybe had more success in high school level, because I didn't get that success until later on. But if, let's say, the coach identifies who are the best athletes, of course training all the athletes, but then the ones that are in the middle there to the top, those are the ones that need to be nurtured. Those are the ones that have to be identified and give them the training that works for them, and just individualize also some training for athletes so based on their abilities.
So if you've been around the sport a long time, when you look at coaches at the high school level or how high school athletes train, what do you see maybe as the biggest mistake or maybe most misunderstood thing about how high school athletes today, or high school coaches today, train their high school athletes?
So the only thing is, the thing that I've observed over the years is there's so many good coaches and they have good intentions. And sometimes it might be that a parent wants their child to be the best. And then the coach kind of gets that pressure, okay, the family has given me the okay to train this kid, and my mind and everything is going to go for this kid. That is good. But then sometimes we kind of miss the idea that at this stage, they still also have to have fun. They have to like it. You have to create that in the kid. They can't just pick it up, oh, this running is fun. Sometimes they feel like, oh, I need to be hanging out with friends, this thing is boring and stuff, but they could be talented. But then the ones that are willing to train and take the program from this individual that is coaching, that's the coach now, then you have to also make sure that you give them time to be kids, to be able to enjoy and have fun. But I've seen the problems that happens is they put too much emphasis on trying to make the kid do so much. When I talked about earlier identifying the talent and working on athletes to make sure that they get the best training, you can actually tailor it to just individual athletes. You don't have to give them too much. You don't have to put them under too much pressure. And that is what I've seen over here. When the athlete is so good, they try to kind of push it way too hard. And I always go against that. Some athletes run about, there's a girl that texted me, sent me a message and on Twitter, wanted advice. And it's like, I'm doing, I think, 90 miles a week. And I told her,
In high school.
You in high school? And first of all, she was a sophomore in high school. I'm doing this. I don't even know. I could go back to my messaging. And I said, in my opinion, that is way too much. I don't want to step on the coach side, but that is too much. But at the same time, you could maybe get good mileage, but that is way too hard. And then the athlete was getting problems with shin splints and injuries. And so those are the things that might make the athletes step away from what could have been a good career in running.
Terrific. When you think about what you went to Washington State University.
Yes.
And when you got there, it was a whole new ballgame
Yes.
from when you were from your high school training.
Yes.
What would you say to either coaches and or athletes is how do you best make that transition from being a good high school athlete, a great high school athlete? How do you make that transition to the collegiate system where it's a lot different?
It is a lot different, and there's so many aspects that can go wrong if you don't get a proper program or a proper place that you are and the teammates and the coach that understands you. One of the things that helped me was the fact that I knew that in order for me to be successful, I need to buy 100% into the program that this new person that I'm meeting for the first time is going to give me. I'm going to be 100% committed to it. I'll be committed to the team. And, I always believe that this person here in charge of my training is the one that is spending all those nights and, days just writing and making sure that he gives me a good program. I'm going to buy 100% into the program, no questions asked, do the training. And sometimes I want to feel like I want to exceed his expectations. And so he can better learn me and see where my strengths are and where my weaknesses are. And so it is basically being serious and working hard to make sure that you get the best out of that situation, that setting that you're getting. And so getting into a good program, and at the same time getting somebody, as an athlete, there's always things that you think, I'm talented, I don't need to push myself. That is always a problem in athletes. They feel like, I got a talent. And how many athletes have we seen that we say, oh my goodness, this guy, can you imagine? Look at the talent he has. Everybody else actually can see the talent in an athlete, but the athletes themselves doesn't even know. And sometimes they know, yes, I have a talent, but they don't feel like I need to do too much. Some of the smartest kids that we know in class were like, I'm just partying, or sometimes, and I'm so good at it, I don't even need to study. But they go to exam, and they're getting A in math, and they don't put too much time. Running is a little different, or in athletics it's different. You got to put the time in there. You have a talent, but your talent can take you only so far. And coaches also have to be able to communicate that to the athletes early enough so they know how to take it serious. And if they want to make it, let's say, to college, and let's say if they're in middle school and then they want to go to high school, if you're in high school, that is the most important part that you have to think about. What do I want in my sport? If you want to go to college, then guess what? You have to go 100% buy into the program that the coach is giving you. And when you go to college, then that is business now. You are there to get the best out of that opportunity that you're getting.
When you were in high school, did you have the opportunity to go on any international teams or any international competitions?
In high school?
In your high school?
No, I did not. And in fact, in high school, I was one of those athletes that was just right in the middle. And then towards the end, on my fourth grade, my senior year in high school, I said, okay, this is the time. And I was starting to kind of train with the seniors also like myself in school. And then I was beating them in my school and even in our regionals. Then there was only one time that I made the nationals. And that was it. I was like, yes, I've made it. But I didn't get to travel anywhere. So in fact, the farthest that I traveled in high school was to just go to another local meet in kind of western part of Kenya. It's called Kitale. And that's it.
Wow.
Yeah,
So one of the things the NSAF does really well is help prepare kids for international competition.
Correct.
By providing opportunities, take them to international meets and provide them funding to go to juniors and those kind of things.
Yes.
Do you think as you're growing up, that exposure to international competition and competition beyond that local area would have been beneficial to you?
absolutely. And in fact, I always liked when young people are given those opportunities to travel and see, just traveling alone and seeing how others compete with you when you're lining up in there, when you're somewhere else. It's so much different from what you see and what you find in your local competitions.
Yeah.
So it opens your mind entirely. I was talking to this kid that he was in high school and he just recently graduated from University of Arizona, Bailey Roth. Bailey's from Colorado. Bailey just made sure that, so he got this opportunity to go early. And so when he's coming to to college for the first time, he had already made a team.
Yeah.
And then in freshman, he's made a team for cross country. And so you look at these guys and you think, he's so different. He's approaching training differently. He has a different mindset. And those opportunities will change many athletes for the better. And I believe if I had those opportunities myself, I think I would have been much, much better. And most of those that were very good enter running and breaking world records later on in their stages. These are the guys that I trained with in high school or competing in high school. If they had those opportunities early, they would have made bigger names. They would have made wonderful things, even in the early stages.
Terrific. Well, Kip, thank you so much for coming by and
Thank
talking
you.
to us.
I appreciate it.
so much. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much.
And best going forward as well.
I appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.